Today my adventure brings me to the town of Reidsville, North Carolina, as right now I'm in the parking lot of this very dead defunct mall here in the town of Reidsville. This is known as the Penrose Mall. I've actually been here before, maybe about a year ago or so. Did a little walk through this mall. It's very dark on the inside. Not a lot happening. Good afternoon, my friends. Welcome back to the channel. Hitchhiking Yeti here. Thank you so much for joining me today. I have returned to the small town of Reidsville, North Carolina. Today we're here in town. We're going to do a little walk down Main Street. Last time I was here, it was all about the Penrose Mall. I've always had a fascination with old malls, especially these that are still kind of open, but most of the stores have been, moved on. It's very dark on the inside. There's not a lot left. A few stores like Belk. Belk is always the cockroach. It never dies. They will hang on to the very bitter end, I believe. But we're here in town to try a very good hamburger location. It's on my list. We're gonna check another one off the list after I complete this hamburger spot today. Only got 2 more to go to finish the list I started with about a year or so ago. OnlyInYourState.com had like a top 10 best mom and pop, like locally owned hamburger locations in the state of North Carolina. This will be number 8 for me, and then we only have 2 to go, so I'm really stoked about that. But there's a lot of cool stuff here in Reidsville I want to go look at today, bringing you along with me. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. Let's go ahead and get started. All right, my friends, I've made it to my first stop here in the town of Reidsville. This is a place that I have some friends of mine that they've actually ate here before. And I've heard somebody else talk about Short Sugar's Pit Barbecue. Opened in 1949. But I got some bad news. Short Sugar's has closed. This popular barbecue spot that opened back in 1949 was open for 75 years. So last year in 2024, they had to close the doors. But what an awesome looking building. It really does have that old school look to it. I love this like tower they have right here in the front. How cool is that? But have some friends of mine I know. They do some YouTube videos. The VA Fun Seekers actually came here and showed off some of the barbecue here at this joint, and they thought very highly of it. Kind of makes you wonder, why did they close down? That's kind of a bummer. This is a really cool looking place. Look at this little drive-in area they got over here on the side of the building. Got this old signage right up here. It says curb opens 11 a.m. So they had like a drive-in curb service available also, I guess, all the way back through there. They would bring the food out and you could just sit right up here beneath this awning and eat you some good barbecue. And as you back up a little bit right here on the corner of the building, you can see the chimney up there where they used to smoke the barbecue. It's got a little bit of soot up there at the top. Been well worked in and seasoned over the years, I'm sure. I just spoke to a local right here at the laundromat right here behind me. She said when they put it in when they put that Short Sugar was closing in the paper, the local paper, she said the community was crushed. She says they are hoping at some point in time they're going to try to bring it back. So just because it's closed right now here in April of 2025 does not mean it's going to stay shut down forever. But it is for right now. Short Sugar's is not open in Reidsville. Kind of a bummer. Hate seeing old school places like this shut down. All right, let's carry on through town, see what else we can find today. All right, my friends, I told you when we arrived, we're going to eat us a burger today. And this right here, this establishment right here behind me is the place. Pete's Burgers. Right here in downtown Reidsville. Pete's Burgers and more, to be exact. We're going to go inside I'm gonna order something good and juicy, and we're gonna taste it. We're gonna dive into this thing. All right, went inside, got some Pete's burgers. This thing has got some heft to it. This is gonna be freaking awesome, I think. Let's do a little reveal action here. Look at that. Sesame seed bun. You do not see that every day. Kind of reminds me of Burger King a little bit, right? Doesn't it? Look how big that thing is. This is their double super burger. They did not have chili, so I just went with the lettuce tomato type of a thing. That's how it comes, so I just went with it. Yeah. There's you a little bit. Here's a close-up of what we're dealing with. God, it reminds me of Burger King, and it smells like Burger King. You know that smell that Burger King has rolling, flame broiled. It's kind of what it reminds me of. All right, we're going to give Pete's Super Burger a taste. So that there was a very tasty bite. If you are a fan of Burger King, you're going to love this. That is what this reminds me of on so many levels. I was just talking to my wife about it, and she made a good point that this is like a better version of a Burger King Whopper. It's like a Burger King Whopper on steroids when it comes to the flavor. Okay? If that makes any sense. That's what this reminds me of. So I must say, as I've consumed about half of my burger, the toppings here, the tomatoes, the lettuce, not my norm of what I normally get on a burger, but everything is like got so much flavor. It all comes together. And I will warn you, this is one of those that's going to be very messy, very juicy. I've actually kept my little tray right here beneath me as I eat here in the car, because I didn't want to go inside. It was very crowded inside. Pete's is a hot place to come eat a burger, obviously, because there was pretty much no seating when I walked in, so I just got it to go. Plus, I wanted to have time to walk around town and check out some of the buildings today, but this burger is just, it's really, really good, but very messy. And this is my last bite of a very delicious Pete's burger. I am so glad I stopped now. This was really worth it. All right, friends. So that was absolutely delicious. Pete's Super Burger was very filling and very delicious. And if you're a fan of Burger King, that is the king of Burger King. Okay, that right there is like Burger King on steroids. I kid you not. The flavors, the smell, that's a winner. That there was an awesome burger experience. So now, since we got our tummies full, it's time to go out and check out some stuff. Look at this epic looking building right here on Market Street here in downtown Reidsville. Reidsville Grocery Company. Man, that just looks historic. That looks so awesome. All right, right here on the corner of Scale Street and Moorhead Street, I'm in this roundabout right here, and they have this very interesting structure right here. And it has like cigarettes on it. As you can see, has a worker. I'm thinking that says Lucky Strike. It's got the LUC and I see strike on it. And then on this side, you can see like a train, and you can see like the smokestacks. And if we look down the hill here, off into the distance, you see there's a factory, and it actually says the letters, spells out Lucky Strike on that like chimney. And I was reading a little bit about it, and it says the former factory in Reidsville, so that was the Lucky Strike cigarette factory here in North Carolina that produced Lucky Strike cigarettes, is being repurposed as an e-commerce hub. The American Tobacco Company, which previously owned the factory, produced Lucky Strike cigarettes there for many years. The iconic building, including its smokestack, is now a part of Lucky Strike facility, a new development focused on e-commerce, logistics, technology related jobs. So no cigarettes are being made there anymore, but they are making some good use of the facility itself. So check out this little location. This place right here has a little bit of history that goes along with it. This right here is the downtown doghouse. It says ice cream, old-fashioned milkshakes. They're actually closed today. I'm here on a Sunday. So this now hot dog shop was formerly a Texaco gas station that was built way back in 1934. Gas was last sold here in the 1960s. After the 60s, it was a pest control, then it was a Mr. Cohn's, and then in 2016, they opened up what they call the doghouse. And this, let's just walk over here and take a little closer look. I love how they have all the little seating and stuff out here. What a neat little place. This is so cute. And the orange and the green, they got some Christmas lights on there. Little candy cane paint job on the side. Right here, we got us a combo up here. It says 2 hot dogs and a drink, chips for $7.47. And you know what? In this day's economy, I think you got to go with that. I think that sounds pretty good to me. So hot dogs and sausages they have here. Ooh, they got a foot long also. Oh, you just got bonus points with me. I love foot long hot dogs. They rock. Got the classic dog with the mustard and the ketchup. Carolina dog, mustard, chili, coleslaw, onions. Yep, that's me. For $5.99, I get a foot long just like that. I'd be happy. We got the Cincinnati dog. DC smoked sausage. Okay, mustard, chili, onions on that thing. Dakota. Detroit dog. KC dog. Santa Fe. Texas dog with some chili cheese and jalapenos. That sounds yummy. And the Wisconsin smoked sausage. And then they got a 3rd pound cheeseburger and chips for $5.99, or you can get a double for $7.49. 100% all beef. All right, and that is a quick look at the doghouse here in downtown area. 2 things I want to show you about the doghouse before we scamper on down the street. Number 1, job well done on your 100% sanitation rating. And also, it would not be a doghouse if you didn't have a red fire hydrant here for the dogs. So I gotta say, we're definitely off to a good start here in Reidsville. I've already learned 2 things that's really awesome in the downtown area. 3 things if you include the amazing hamburger I just consumed. But the other thing is, I got to see the doghouse, learn a little bit of history about it. It used to be an old gas station back in the 1930s. And I knew nothing about Lucky Strike cigarettes. I'm not a tobacco user, but it was kind of cool, you know, to see maybe this town is, you know, how it thrived back in the day is because of that factory right there that's shut down now. But all in all, they're making good use of it, moving forward in life, you know, progressing. And this storefront right here is called Scales Street Music. Located here, obviously, because you're on Scales Street. And right there is Minnie Mouse. But look at these trees in here and all these folk. This is Gold Star Casualties, Vietnam. Them recognizing their local soldiers. You see this quite often when you go to some of these smaller places. Recognize, you know, their town heroes. Got some guitars over there. And right there's Mickey, dressed like, I don't think I've ever seen Mickey dressed quite like that before. And right across the street, it says Cafe 99. Look, what is that, a 57 Chevy cut out up there on the side of that building? Right next to the pawn shop here in town. Just walking along town here, and this storefront right here, we have to stop here for a minute because they have some real American-made gems. Look at this old Maytag washer. Look at that. Whoa. I bet some of you folk watching this, I bet you knew somebody, your grandparents, or maybe you had it. Who knows? Some people who bought this stuff, it says made only by General Motors. That is something else right there. Look at that. This is back when they made stuff at last. When you bought it here in the US. Look at this right here. Westinghouse double wash dishwasher custom edition. That is pretty freaking cool right there. And man, this is a meaty, I'm talking a meaty stovetop here. Those burners on top of that thing. Yeah, that is pretty epic. This is awesome. Really, really cool. Love finding little nuggets like that as you travel around to some of these little communities. And that is an awesome square with this clock right here. Look at this mural. All right, we're gonna have to investigate over there too. All right, I made my way over here to Gilmer Street. And look at this awesome mural they have here on the side of the building. Greetings from Reidsville. That is pretty epic. And speaking of Lucky Strike cigarettes earlier, look right there. The eye has got Lucky Strike painted within it, the smokestack, if you will. That is pretty cool too. And right here is a tattoo shop. It says Sacred. Solon Art Collective. I don't think he's going to get a tattoo today. He's going to have to put some weight on. Okay, so I made my way all the way down through these storefronts and everything. Kind of looked at some stuff. Notice a lot of the storefronts on this side of the road, right here in this vicinity, a lot of them are, you know, like posted, no trespassing. They look pretty dormant, or they have like stuff like this on them, coming soon. But this right here is interesting. It says SB Mace Jeweler. But it's not a jewelry store no more, I do not think. Whatever GCRF is, it's got something to do with gaming, because it says game room right here. And they got some old stuff out here. Look at that old N64 controller. Some Atari stuff there. On this side, this is the game that I've always been a big fan of. Right there is Mortal Kombat. That is pretty awesome, man. Got some old Xbox controllers in here. Some relics. Look at this old stuff. Right there's Contra. Golly, that game used to annoy the crap out of me sometime. And right there is that dog. When you would play duck hunt back in the 80s, and you would shoot the duck, he would go and fetch it for you. And it's like, oh, thank you. You're being so kind. You're smiling. You got my duck. I really appreciate it. But if you missed and the duck flew away, that little dog would come up and like poke fun of you and laugh at you. And man, you talking about ticking somebody off. Until I got used to it, because I was pretty young. That used to annoy me so bad because he was laughing at me when I'd miss. And I was never that good at duck hunt, so I learned to lose on it. But these games here was some of my favorites. Right there, that's Castlevania and Excite Bike. Played those a lot. Might even play that Castlevania even more than I ever played Mario. Loved it that much. And right there is an old school N64 Nintendo. Right there. Pretty cool. That is a real relic. That's kind of funny when you're out and you're looking at old stuff and you see a video game system that came out like at Nintendo 64. I think it came out in 1996. And I'm like, that's a relic. And it's like, but is it really? Was it that long ago? And you think about it and you do the math in your head. That was almost 30 years ago. That makes you feel old. All right, I made my way up here to the old clock here, the City of Reidsville clock right here in the kind of the square, the downtown area. Very beautiful. But I had to come over here because I wanted to see this. Look at that beautiful mural. It's like they got the tobacco fields painted right here. Right there is the American Tobacco Company. It says Lucky Strike up there on the smokestack. Yeah, this thing is monstrous. This is one big beautiful mural. And man, you can't miss it because it's right here in the downtown area. You drive down through here, this pops. I mean, this is just out there, you know. This is so awesome. Absolutely beautiful. What a great way to keep the memories of this community alive. All right, my friends. So earlier I was over there showing you that wall mural. It says Greetings from Reidsville. And I had to come over here and see this old theater right here. Look at this. Right there is where it used to say the now showing where they put the poster up, the movie poster. And this here is actually called the Rockingham Theater. Look at this cool marquee right there. And look at the woodwork up here on this window area. Man, this is epic. What a cool looking piece of history right here. The Rockingham Theater. Looks like it is still in use. Probably not to show movies though. Most of the time places like this, they just have local acts come through. And they may or may not have like a Beatles tribute band. As you see right here, the traveling band. Look at this. Have a little Beatles action going on there. Right there they are. It's not John Lennon or you know, Paul. It's not them, but it's still a tribute band for the band Beatles. That'll take you right back to the 1960s all over again. Didn't really notice this until just now, but they've got an R right here in the middle of town for Reidsville. And right there is that beautiful wall mural, and we looked at the Rockingham Theater. And right here in the square it says, this is the home of the Reidsville, North Carolina Chamber of Commerce Visitor Center. I like that saying up there on that little flag. Live simple, think big. Nice. And here's a little bit closer look to the Cafe 99. I actually seen this across the street earlier. Didn't realize that the king himself, Elvis Presley, is the one hanging out the window. That is pretty cool. But whatever this used to be does not look like it's anything at this moment in time, because it is closed for business. Just look inside, you can see ain't a whole lot going on. Maybe a little cleanup, whatever it used to be. Some kind of cafe, I would imagine. Who knows? Now this is pretty cool. Look at these bottles. Got a little bottle art going on in this little alcove right here. This is a cool little place. This kind of reminds me of that spot that I seen a few weeks ago when I was in the town of Elkin, North Carolina. They had like a very similar spot like this, but theirs did have bathrooms. This one does not have bathrooms. And when I look at this rock formation here, it almost looks like at one time maybe it had water. Like it was a maybe waterfall, like a little glistening water. A lot of moss is growing right there. Kind of makes me feel like maybe it was water at one time, but not sure. Maybe I'm totally missing the mark on that, but that would be really cool to have like a little waterfall beneath here, and you can kind of go get you some coffee or some snacks. Maybe play some checkers, because that does have a checkerboard right there on that little table. Alright, so a really awesome way to end the vlog today. We got to see a train go right through the downtown area here in Reidsville. Had a great day. The hamburger at Pete's was epic. I really enjoyed that very much. Definitely highly recommend, if you love hamburgers, go give that a try. It's one on the list that I'm not sorry I tried. I thought it was very fantastic, very good. What an awesome little neighborhood. The whole little town here of Reidsville really is a cool place. Enjoyed my walk downtown. I thought the doghouse uptown there, the old gas station, the history along with that, I thought that was so cool. You know, it makes me want to come back now just to try a hot dog there, you know, and get some ice cream. That should be a lot of fun. But all that being said, it is time for me to end today's video and head back home. And we're going to end it right here in front of Greer Recycling. Looking at Old Glory. Right there. The red, white, and blue. All right, my friends, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really do appreciate it as always. Until next time, I am the Hitchhiking Yeti, and I will see you in my next adventure. Y'all stay safe, and I hope to see you all again very soon.